so you could interact with Julie. Thank you for hitting record. That is one thing I am awful at. I'm also going to share it to your feed too. Let me see if I could find a way to share on. So if you guys have any questions on Facebook and can't join us on Zoom, go ahead and type them in the comments. I'll do my best to get to it here. All right, Julie, we got you on. We are on your Facebook. Okay, so let's start off with introductions. Savannah, how's it going?
Good. Hey, everyone. I'm Savannah. I am a registered nurse. I'm located down in Los Angeles, California. I started investing at the beginning of 2020, started with a couple of long-term rentals and then jumped into multifamily syndications and have since raised over $3 million of capital to do those deals. Alex and I formed this group really to connect with other healthcare professionals out there. We're super passionate about sharing back with our colleagues everything that we've done in the space because it's proven really powerful for our own lives. And so with that, Alex, I'll let you intro yourself.
Hey, how's everyone doing? My name is Alex Sabio. I invest in short-term rentals. Been doing that for about 2.5 years now, and that's been a game changer for me. It's allowed me so much financial freedom, pretty much freedom, and I've met so many amazing people, and people kept coming up to me asking me how I do this stuff and asking for advice. So I pretty much just helped as many people as I could in the healthcare industry. And one of the big things was I got on like social media, podcasts and everything. And so I would jump on Clubhouse like every Sunday. And to be honest with you, I never jumped on stage, Julie. I was kind of like just in awe of like these amazing guests that you would have on stage. And I was just too shy, but I would take in all of this advice that you guys were giving me. And that's helped me a ton in my business. A lot of the people that come to your meetups every Sunday, like Dr. Rachel, Bart came on, like all of these people, Rafa, all of these people are coming on to our Facebook group and adding tons of value. So Julie, thanks for joining us here.
Oh, my pleasure. And I'm glad you're not too shy to get onto Zoom then, Alex. So
I'm getting over stuff, you know, there's something I'm building up, but I'm working on stuff. So
no, it's terrific. And Savannah, thank you for having me as well. Folks, obviously with this accent, I am not from the United States. I am based in Australia, and it's 10 a.m. here on the 29th already. So I can see into the future, and I've got to tell you, the future looks pretty bright for short-term rentals and the industry. I think we're just on the cusp of something really big. So real pleasure to join everybody today and hopefully get to know everybody a little bit better and share my story, tips and tricks.
So Julie, why don't you share your story? I've heard you on a ton of podcasts. I love hearing your story, and it's all about, okay, she built up this amazing short-term rental business in what, 3 years? She went from 0 to like 120 doors, created amazing systems, and then sold it for millions of dollars, right? Is that pretty much the story there?
That's pretty close. So let's not get the facts, get in the way of a good story, but close. 130 properties. Can't tell you exactly how much I sold it for. That's the one thing I can't disclose, but let's just say Billions. I never have to work again.
But that's amazing, right? So how did you get into short-term rentals to start with? I mean, like here in the US, to be honest with you, I think Airbnb is still fairly a new thing compared to other countries. Like short-term rentals and Airbnb has been a little bit more developed there, to tell you the truth, compared to here.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And so I started in 2016, and actually I'm going to show you I'm going to share my story in photos as well. Yes. So I hope that's okay, folks. We're going to, I'll do a share in a second, but I'm going to take you through my particular story. And then what I'd love to do with your folks today is just let you in on some $1 million secrets. And I just want to share how you can actually make a ton of money without owning property, without having to take a lease on a property. So there's just some different ways about it. But folks, if you're brand new to this industry, guess what? You haven't missed the boat. It is just getting started. Airbnb, short-term rentals, it's a thing now. It's now that we've had COVID, especially, everybody is aiming towards short-term rentals. Me in particular, I just recently, I had to stay in a hotel, and I was traveling for 5 weeks in the United States just recently. I needed a washing machine. I really was desperate for a washing machine. This hotel didn't have one on site. It was the Lowe's in Miami. We're paying like hundreds of dollars a night for this property.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So guess what? Packed up, moved out, went to a short-term rental. Happy days. So,
Wow.
so folks, I can tell you that the guests are wanting short-term rentals. They're not wanting the hotel experience as much anymore. But so listen up. If you're interested in making some extra cash on the side, or not even on the side, gosh, you may find that this takes over your W-2. You might decide that you are going to change your life forever with short-term rentals. I did. I've seen plenty of other people that have done the same, and I just love it. So let me share my screen with you folks. And if you have got any questions as we go through this, please let me know. Write in the chat or shoot us through some comments. At the end, I want to answer your questions. So let's see if we can do that. Actually, let me just make sure. Alex, can you see that? Okay, is that coming up as
I see your Zoom.
I can see Lenny nodding.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see your screen, but it's the Zoom page. So there you go. There's your presentation.
That better? Okay, that's better. Okay. All right. See, my technical skills are not as good as my short-term rental skills. So bear with me, folks.
You're doing great.
Okay. Whew. Thanks. Okay. So let's crack on. So Alex, great introduction. Yes, 2016, I started off with one property. I had a long-term property that I had a 1-bedroom apartment. My tenant moved out. I thought, let's find out what all the fuss is about with short-term rentals, put some linen in, turn the Wi-Fi on, and next minute, just like all of you have discovered, you've got great guests, a reciprocal review system with Airbnb that means everyone's on their best behavior, including the hosts. It's amazing. And then also the host guarantee was always a bonus as well. I was able to use my own investment property for the first time in years. So my mother-in-law was coming to visit. Guess where she was staying? Not with me. She gets to stay in the short-term rental. So short-term rental worked really well. At the time, I was working in real estate as a broker in a flat market where I just thought, look, if this short-term rental gig is working for me so well, perhaps it can work for others at the same time. So I developed a property management company and a structure that meant that I could take fully furnished homes, list them on Airbnb, charge a commission for them. So I'm going to go through that in more detail in a second, but just quickly, this is one of my favorite photos that I'm showing you here now, because within 2.5 years, there was over $8 million. Let me just say that again, $8 million income through my Airbnb portfolio.
Oh my gosh.
So, woohoo. And folks, yes, I did write the $1 Million Host after my first year in business. In the first year, I turned over 1.4 million. If I'd only waited the second year, I could have written the multi-million dollar host. But
you need to write part 2, right? Like
exactly. Well, in fact, part 2 came this year in the form of Hospitable Hosts. So we've done a bit of an update. All those books are going to fall over. But both those books are available on Amazon, or might just give a couple away by the end of today as well. So you never know your luck. Actually,
is there an audiobook, Julie?
What was that, Alex?
Is there an audiobook? I mean, I like to listen. I like to work out, and
No, but there should be, and I need to get onto that, right? So
okay.
I know Hospitable Hosts we are recording, but $1 Million Hosts, I need to do it myself, and
right.
Yes, I need to get around to it. But folks, let me just, how about we say the first 3 people that put a comment in the chat or want to ask a question? You don't even have to ask a question, but if you just want to comment in the chat, say that you're listening in right now. Alex and Savannah might look out for me, and we're going to send you a copy of the $1 Million Host on ebook. So we'll do that for the first 3. All right, so let's get through. Okay, so here's the secret is, yes, you can make millions of dollars through short-term rentals without owning property or having any startup funds. When I started, I had $9,000 to put into my business. I didn't even need that. Really, I could have started my property management business with a smartphone, a vacuum cleaner, and a mop and bucket. Like, honestly, if I could just find an opportunity, my neighbor's property, perhaps even an RV sitting in the front yard of a property, I would be able to list that on short-term rental sites like Airbnb, take a commission. Suddenly I'm running a property management business. So folks, you don't need a lot of money to start this business. Low risk, low cost barrier entry, and you don't have to own property to get into the short-term rentals. So there's the other little secret. I know a lot of the people that are probably on the call today are owner occupiers, and I'm going to give you a little few tips and secrets on what you can do to maximize things there as well. But of the 130 properties that I was running, yes, 6 of them I owned. 124 of them were other people's homes that were fully furnished, and homeowners that wanted to be in short-term rentals. They just didn't have the time, they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have the patience that maybe we possess. So I was able to come in with a solution and say, let me take care of that for you, and we will manage it on your behalf. So it was a win-win. So folks, just remember that there are people out there that may have vacation homes sitting empty a lot of the time. Maybe you can offer a solution. Okay, so what is the property management model? I'm going to just run through this briefly because a lot of people may not have understood or heard of it before, but it's offering that full management of a property, a fully furnished home. So you're not having to furnish it, you're not having to put any money into this home, but you're splitting the income with the homeowner and with yourself. I was charging 25% commission. Typically, you're looking between 15 to 25%. So I was at the higher end. Always go high, always aim high, because it's so much harder years later to push those rates up. And I was also collecting the cleaning fee from the guest. How much does it cost to start? Nothing. So this is what my business looked like. It was called Host My Home Property Management in Australia, and we operated out of Cairns, Australia. So anybody who's watched Finding Nemo on the Great Barrier Reef, or the beautiful northeastern side of Australia, that's where I was located. We were doing everything with these homes. We'd get the fully furnished homes. Sometimes they weren't fully furnished, however, they were maybe an empty shell, and the homeowners would come to us and say, we want to be in short-term rentals, but our house, we've just purchased it. What do we do? So of course there was another income generating opportunity of being able to say, we'll furnish it for you, I'm going to charge you for it, we'll set it up for you, but we're going to charge you for it. But we were creating the listings, we were doing the guest communication, cleaning, laundry, replenishing all the stocks, and then of course then charging those fees.
Did you plan all that? I mean, did it just happen organically? Like the wheels just start turning, you're like, oh, we can, do all of these extra things, and there's extra streams of income, right? I mean, you started from this one little thing and all of a sudden it grew, right?
Exactly right. And I think it's just about keeping your mind open to how can I provide a solution to people's problems. And people are going to come to you with all sorts of problems, but it's just about and looking for those opportunities. So one other thing that we were doing and making a lot of money out of was partnering with tour desks. So tour operators, whitewater rafting, hot air ballooning, deep sea diving. We had a lot of people coming to our region for the tourists, tourism side of things. To me, if that person is coming and staying in my property, I'm going to squeeze as much as I can out of that person. Now, I didn't want to work hard though. So you want to work smart, and you want to create a relationship with people in your community offering up that opportunity. So I found Dave, who was running a tour desk, and Dave had all of the tours down pat. He knew everything. And folks, excuse my Australian slang. If I say any words that you don't understand, put it in the chat and go, what is she talking about? We will decipher. But Dave was able to simply look after our guests and then give me a commission at the end of the month. So I would, on my welcome message to our guests, just say, If you are in the area and you're looking to do any tours or activities while you are here, talk to Dave. Tell him that you're staying with Julie and he will look after you.
Oh my God,
of course, at the end of the month,
tip.
we would get thousands of dollars for just pushing people to Dave.
Right.
So folks, just think about that in terms of what are your guests looking for when they're coming to stay with you? For mine, it was the tours, but it may be even your local restaurants. You could do something similar with your local restaurants. And I did with 2 of my favorite restaurants. I made sure I got free meals every month because of the amount of people I was pushing there.
It's market research. That's what we like to say.
There you go. So it's possible to just look for those opportunities and make the money out of it. But Alex, yeah, at the beginning I had a very basic business plan and it evolved over time. I've got to tell you one other way of making some good money as well. There were a lot of people in my area that were interested in doing it themselves. They wanted to get in and start short-term rentals themselves. They just didn't know where to start. They didn't know their way around the Airbnb platform. So I would advertise that I would do a free consultation and set you up to run your own Airbnb or run your own short-term rental. If you have never been, if you don't possess an Airbnb profile, or if you haven't ever been on the Airbnb system and set your own profile up. Now, the reason I would do that is because Airbnb give you such massive kickbacks for referral fees. I think it's about $700 at the moment. So for me, spending an hour free looking after somebody, setting them up a profile, helping them create a listing and showing them how Airbnb operates so they can run their own home or their own premises, I'm getting $700 as soon as the first guest comes to stay.
I don't know why I never thought of that.
So the other thing with this is what a good lead generator for your own short-term rental business, because we all know that after after the 5th time that you have to go clean a dirty toilet or you have to make a bed night after night, these homeowners, the novelty is wearing off. Where are they going to come back to for professional management when that novelty wears off? So I got a lot of people that would try it for themselves and then come back. So I would get the $700 referral fee. Then of course they would sign up under my services.
Oh my God, that's so genius. I was just setting up OwnerRez the last 2 days and I'm about to throw this thing out the window, and as a new host, I mean, it sounds cool. You're making money off short-term rentals on Airbnb. But then when you start diving into the systems, and if you're not computer literate, like, you're not going to want to do any of it. So amazing tip there.
Yeah. So many different ideas. And this is where I guess, look, folks, I chose to do property management because it suited what I wanted to do. But you've got to look at your own skills, your own likes, dislikes, and really your background. So if you have, and I must tell you, so I offer one-on-one consulting and help people replicate the same success that I've seen, but not everybody should do what I'm doing. And here's the reason why. I was doing a Zoom one day with a young lady she was a teacher, formerly a teacher, but she just had babies. She had twin babies and she had these 6-month-old babies, and she said, I want to do what you're doing. And I looked at her and I said, no, you don't. No, you don't. And then I told her about the idea of consulting and helping people and being able to sit in front of a computer like I did. And I said, you want to do that where you can be home with your babies and then you can still have a finger in the short-term rental business. So folks, as much as if you may be listening now going, I want to do what Julie's doing, you might find that you need to tweak it to just match in with your own likes, dislikes, your own current situation at the moment as well. All right, so here's secret number 2. We are developing a saleable asset. A lot of people do not realize that when you are in the short-term rental industry, every property you add on to your portfolio is a saleable asset in the management structure. Now, I'm going to talk to you about owner operators in a minute because I've still got a solution for you guys as well. But let me just tell you that the way we value our businesses in short-term rentals, a property management business, is the last 12 months net profit after expenses. Last 12 months, you times that by 3. And actually, I'm going to give you some good news. I need to update my slideshow here because we've now gone up to 3.2. So I will fix that later. But the multiplier is going up. Anybody who's interested in selling your business, just know that this is how you should value it. What's your net profit? Times that by 3.2 now. So that's the exciting part. So homeowners, property investors, anybody who is self-managing, here's the secret number 3. You all should be running an LLC side by side that is a property management company. You need to have contracts back to yourself, because just like I did, I own 6 of those properties myself. I sold the management rights to those properties. I kept the asset, the real estate asset, sell the management rights. So you may still want to hold on to your homes, your properties, but you may not want to run them anymore. You may want to go back to your W-2. You may have another opportunity that is, you might want to cruise around the world. Whatever it may be, you may decide that you don't want to manage these properties anymore. You can sell the management rights, but you have to set it up correctly first. You need to have a separate LLC, have a management company, and then management contracts back to yourself, back to your, whether you've got your home, your properties in an LLC or they're in your own personal name, make sure there's a management contract there, because that then gives you that valuation that I just spoke about. Does that make sense? Yes. Give me a thumbs up if it makes sense to anybody. Yeah, Letty. Yeah, good, Savannah. Woohoo. Okay, good. You're all still awake. Good. That's the most important thing. Okay, so that's secret number 5, business structure. Okay, so this is where it gets nitty gritty. No matter what you are doing, whether you're managing it yourself, whether you are arbitraging, leasing and subleasing, whether you are running a management, property management business like I did, you need a great framework. So firstly, and this means in order to work on your business, not in your business, you do not want to create yourself a job with short-term rentals. Okay, you want to be able to, like I did, create an empire. Well, most people want to create an empire where they can work on it, not in it. So 10 hours a week is what I was doing at 130 properties. And I knew I had it right, the formula right. When I would turn up to my office, the girls would look at me, they would hold their hands up and they would say, "Stop, what are you doing here? Don't touch anything." Yeah, that means that they know it better than I know it. So, folks, and then also I wasn't a slave to my phone. So that was kind of exciting. But firstly, you've got to believe that you can do this. You've got to have that right mindset. You've got to understand that you do deserve to be working on it, not in it. A lot of people think that they have to slave their life away in order to be successful. Alex, yeah, I'm talking to you, buddy. Then
yes, I'm struggling with this every day. I'm at my short-term rentals. Lenny knows I'm there 12 to 16 hours slaving on it, and I haven't changed that mindset. No, I just need to hire this out, So.
Alex Sabio, right? We are going on a private Zoom call, and folks, I do this for anybody who's interested. 15-minute free Zoom call. You just let me know. I will send you a Calendly link. Please let me help you with this, because honestly, it's life-changing. Once you can understand that you can delegate some of these tasks out, and especially the lower value tasks, if you are still messaging guests, if you are still going to unlock a door when it's locked, if you're doing tasks that you can employ somebody to do, I promise you, your time is spent better elsewhere. So we need to, a couple of things with the CEO mindset, and this is where I would expand if we were to do a one-on-one, but basically I get you to say, right, well, what does your dream role look like? What do you imagine doing in your business? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What tasks do you do that give you energy, and what drains you of energy? What do you do day to day that you just walk away from and you feel exhausted? I want you to, you write all this down in different columns. And then what we've got to do is got to start with that end goal. We've got to decide what is it that you want to do. For me personally, my end goal was to be able to travel the world whenever I wanted to, speak up on stages, write books, talk to Alex and Savannah and all these beautiful faces on these Zooms, but help others was my end goal. And I then had to work backwards and go, all right, how the hell am I going to get there? And it was really about putting a good framework in place. And I'm going to give you a bit more detail on that in a second. Getting a really good team organized and systems and processes. I hate that part, but it's so necessary that you need to get your systems and processes. So Alex, you and I are talking, buddy.
I know this is like therapy for me. I already know it. You know what I mean? It's just really hard for me to take myself out of that worker bee mentality, you know,
to do it. And that's what I guess where I'm doing my one-on-one consulting and coaching with people. A lot of it is keeping people accountable and going, right, Alex, in the next week, what you're going to do is get your processes in place so that somebody else can take over the messaging. And then the following week we meet and I go, right, did you do it? And it's about keeping people accountable, but honestly, it will change your life. And once you can switch that mindset over to, you do not have to be a slave to your phone. You do not have to bust your ass in order to be successful. Sorry, am I allowed to say that? Tough luck. But you just need to be able to understand that you deserve to be happy right now. You do not have to wait for the future to be happy. You deserve to live your life fully and be happy now. So, God, I do sound like a therapist, don't I? So,
we need to hear it though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it is. It's really like I need to smack people in the faces sometimes and go, or shake them and just say, what are you doing? You know, because I used to be the same. Alex, I promise I was in that, you know, I would create a lot of work for myself thinking that I needed to be busy in order to be successful. No, not anymore. So framework. Okay, so framework, what I'm talking about there is we need a really good structure to be able to know that your business can survive without you. You do not want to be, the business does not want to be dependent on you and what's in here. We've got to get what's in your head down in black and white. And we need to, I'm going to put all these up. We need to create systems. We need to create policies, procedures, but we need to, I know it's probably a lot of you are thinking, but I already know what to do. That's all well and good. But what happens if you're not here tomorrow? Who's going to pick up and run your business without having it in black and white, what your standards are, what your policies are, what your procedures are? It's probably as simple as that. So I know it's horrible to think, but you're not here tomorrow for whatever reason. Is your family going to be okay to run your business? So take that time now to think about how to get everything down in black and white, how you run your business, what are the procedures, put it in a playbook, put it in a business plan. And once again, what we're doing here is we're making it very attractive for somebody to come and buy your business at some stage as well, because you can hand them this playbook, you can hand them the keys to your business, and you can collect a big fat check off them. So, so keep that in mind as well. Team. All right. So the team idea, and this is where I guess what I've done is very different to a lot of people. For those of you who read $1 Million Host, or come and have a chat to me, I will. Okay, we're just going to throw that away. I will tell you that the way I structured my team was with as little contact points as possible and little touch points as possible for the homeowner and for the guest. If a guest was coming to Julie's property, one of the 130, they would meet a co-host of mine. And that co-host would be the person that they would be in touch with the whole stay. If a homeowner was coming to list their property with me, they would meet one of my property managers and they would be in touch with that person the whole time for accounts, for repairs, for maintenance, for anything that they needed. They weren't talking to people in different departments. So a lot of property management companies will have different departments, but there's nothing worse to me than being handballed off to somebody else and say, I didn't deal with that, that other department dealt with it. I don't like that. So I wanted very little touch points, but the structure that I put together, did I put this on the, no. hold on. The structure that I put together was similar to a franchise. So I would structure it up with a portfolio of properties, maybe 5 properties, give that to a co-host, and I'm going to show you the details on that person in a minute. I would have them responsible for looking after everything on those properties, so that I knew that my time was better freed up so I could go and get more properties. That was my skill set that nobody else possessed, was the branding, building my brand, getting out there, getting new properties on board. That was what my my wheelhouse was. So I was able to get the properties, pass them off very quickly and not have to worry about them. Branding was the secret to being able to make sure that properties came to me. I didn't have to go knocking on doors, talking to landlords. So do not stress your pretty little heads about being able to get more properties. If you're worried about how am I going to find these properties, I can tell you it is just simply about becoming the go-to person in your area. Become the guru of short-term rentals, the expert on short-term rentals in your community. We put it on social media. We get you a website set up. We talk about, we maybe put together an article to put in a glossy magazine that is hitting up the real estate world, people that, your audience that we want to target. So the second homeowners. But branding, really important. And that was the secret sauce as well, in that everybody knew who I was in my area and what I was doing. And I was even wearing a name badge to the grocery store so that I could trigger a conversation everywhere I went. They would say, host my home. They would see the little cartoon character and they would say, who are you? What did you do? What are you doing? So, and then having an elevator pitch to be able to say, this is what I do, this is what I offer, and then a call to action to say, I'm actually looking for a 4-bed, 2-bath home, waterfront at the moment. The demand is incredible for the upcoming season. I've run out of properties. Do you know anybody that has got a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house? Amazing when you ask how many people want to help you. So put it out there that that's what you want. Keep the questions coming, folks, and we will answer at the end. Now, this is the secret role, the property host that I was talking about. If you are a if you are an owner operator, get the words right, Julie. If you have your own properties that you own, you still need somebody to run them. You don't want to be running them yourself. You need to employ somebody like this, a property host contractor that can look after those homes for you. Look after them and have pride in the homes so that they are looking after them like you would look after them. They're making sure that any damages are being reported straight away, that any guest issues are being looked after straight away. Now, I would make sure that my key performance indicators, so my standards on this role, were based around the review system. I wanted 4.5 or better star reviews from every guest. And if I didn't get it, and I could simply just look on this platform for this, then I would say to that property host, we need to retrain you. We need to retrain you, or you need to give up that property. So it was a bit of a structure where I was able to reward people with more properties if I could see they were doing well and had capability. So some of my property hosts had up to 23 properties and were earning $4,000 to $5,000 a week as a property host by earning 6% commission out of the 25 I was charging, plus keeping that full cleaning fee. Now, what I was doing with the structure of this was empowering people. I was giving them their own business opportunity. I was helping them earn endless income. So they could actually, there was no cap on what they could earn. If they could upsell to their guests, or if they could extend guest stay, they were earning more money. So suddenly they gave a shit. And excuse my language again, but that's what you want from a team. You don't want a cleaner to walk into a property and not really care if something is broken. They don't even notice if a wall's been scratched. You want somebody to actually care and take responsibility. And I would get my property hosts to sign on their contract to say they were responsible for any linen loss, during that time of the stay. Any damages that didn't get picked up, that they would be responsible for financially. Now, I didn't ever go through with that threat, but that threat was enough that they all looked and made sure that the properties were spotless every time and that everything was accounted for.
I think, Julie, what you're talking about, that's how you grew your business so fast, right? With this property host, like you would get so many properties and pretty much just hand it over. And I think what's happening with us, all of us self-manage our short-term rentals, we don't want to give it up because we don't want to pay that commission because we want to keep all of it. But the thing is, I think a lot of us have to think with, okay, I'm okay with making 70% of what I made, but handing it off to someone else, and then I could go ahead and just expand a business and blow the business up because now I'm not tied up into this role. That's the CEO role we were just talking about.
That's exactly that CEO mindset where you can dream big, but then dream bigger. And you just have to believe that if you can do it with 1 or 2 or 3 properties, you guys have done the hard yards already. Now, let's put those processes and systems in place. Let's get a team on and let's replicate the crap out of it and blow it up. And then if it gets too much, sell the business like I did. But yeah, look, you need to have a team that is empowered, has pride in their work, is going to be loyal. You're going to look after them. And you've got to change the narrative when you're looking for a team member. So let's say you're looking for a cleaner. Stop looking for a cleaner. Stop offering a job. Start offering a business opportunity and start talking about profit share. I promise you that narrative that you use when you are advertising for a role, when you are recruiting for a role, if you can change the narrative, you can change your mindset, boom, you'll change your whole life. All right, so secret number 6. Let's go. My biggest regret was not having a mentor. Do you think that's some self-promotion there? Possibly. But folks, I had to do this myself. When 2016, 130 properties in 2.5 years, I did it, but I did it the hard way. And I look back now and I think, far out, if I had someone like Alex or somebody that was able to, someone like Julie George to help me, but you just can fast track your success. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So for me, at the moment, all the templates, all the paperwork, all the contracts, all the training manuals that I used in my business, I sell those. I sell those as Word documents. And I say to people, just buy them off my website, put your logo on it and just use that and off we go. So look, if only I could if I had somebody back then that I could lean on, maybe I would have even fast-tracked it even more. All right, that's it. That's my presentation for you. I know I compacted a lot in very quickly. What I would like to do is, as I mentioned, I'm doing 15-minute one-on-one Zoom calls free of charge, just to talk to people, see if I can change the mindsets, see if there's any way I can assist. But if you're at all interested, please get in touch, but make sure that we're connected on social media. I love to have friends all over the world, but what really gets me excited these days is being able to see other people's success stories. The other thing that we're doing, which some of you may be interested, Hospitable Hosts. There is a Hospitable Hosts 2023 book, and it tells stories. There's 40 different stories in this book of hosts around the world. If you ever have dreamt of being a published author, I want you to talk to me as well, because I'm helping put together, I'm looking for people's stories to be able to print in the book. So for the next few
I'll jump on that, Julie, if you need help.
Yeah, there we go. See, Alex, I'm going to have you your CEO mindset. We're going to have you a published author. I'll have you on a Netflix show. I'm going to have
oh my gosh.
So folks, there you have it. So we've got lots more people on here now that I can see the whole screen, but questions. And I know that we've got a bit in the chat, but Alex or Savannah, do you guys want to just see if there's any questions in the chat that we can answer? Or if you have got a question for me, do you want to just unmute yourself, put your hand up, let me know if I can help you with anything.
Yeah, if anyone wants to take yourself off mute, you can raise your hand, click on reactions on the bottom of your screen, and then there's a button there to raise your hand. If you guys want to do that more, you're more than welcome to do that. Otherwise, Alex and I can bounce to your guys' questions. There is a couple over here in the chat. So if we are managing our own rentals, we can use this as well on top of our property valuation. And when do you transition to this?
Yes. So if you have got, even if you've got one property at the moment, I would suggest that you have, you look at opening up your own management company side by side to your own property. So I would do that straight away, because I'm not sure what it costs to start an LLC. I think a couple of $100, but honestly, if you've got a management contract, if you ever have the idea that you may not want to manage your own properties and you want to have somebody take it over, don't just employ somebody, sell that management contract to somebody else. So it's worth something for sure. Lenny, I see your hands up. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. First and foremost, I want to say, this is fantastic. Thank you for coming on and sharing this information. It's always good to hear, just.
Well, it's very hard to hear you, Lenny. I don't know whether your audio is up.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Is this better?
Oh, better. Much better.
Okay. Cool. Sorry about that. I said, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. It's always great just to hear, different avenues on what you can do when it comes to real estate. But one of the questions I wanted to ask was the properties that you managed. Right. Were they all in one location, one target market? What was the distance between these properties? I mean, were they all over different states and cities, or were they all, in one zip code?
Yeah, great question. So when I first started this business, I wanted to take on properties all around Australia and worldwide. I was going to take on everything. When I looked in my own backyard, there was so much opportunity within a 20-mile radius. So I just stuck to that. I stuck to a 20-mile radius and 130 properties right there. However, so the logistics of running properties in a remote region always become a little tricky, but I have got a solution for that. If you found properties that you wanted to run in, let's not run properties in Florida at the moment, but if Ian wasn't in Florida, we would run properties in Florida because I was just there and it's incredible. And my son's about to walk in the back of this, so you're all going to get to say hello to Josh. Josh, you better wave to everybody in America. Actually, if any of you have watched my presentations, you've heard about Josh before. So if you haven't, watch some more podcasts and you'll know about what I'm talking about. But if you were to run properties in a remote region, I would suggest that you run the same setup that I had with the property hosts, but I would pay a little bit more. I would pay 10% commission, and I would have those people as a franchise. I would look at saying that they needed to look for new listings, onboard those new listings, deal with the homeowners, be there when the photography is set up, and then be responsible for purchasing and storing consumables. So I've got another little business plan for those remote areas, but it's always about finding the good boots on the ground in those remote regions. And for me, I didn't need to. I found 130 properties within a 20-mile radius. So look in your own backyard before you look elsewhere. Does that help?
Thank you.
Awesome. My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. Who else have we got?
Another question we have in the chat is your biggest challenge in starting your business and how you overcame it.
Ooh. Oh gosh. Who asked that question? The biggest challenge, I think it was, do you know what? It was dealing with team members and staffing politics and bullshit amongst the team. Like, honestly, there's a lot, when you're running a team, any of you who have ever been in charge, staff drove me insane. Like, honestly, it's a wonder I don't drink more than I actually drink now. But I think it was just the team trying, like, jealousies between team members that somebody had more properties than they did, or just it was just the personality traits. To deal with that, what I did was I did a lot of in-house training, a lot of evaluations, a lot of one-on-one meetings with the team to make sure that they were on the right trajectory, in that they were fulfilling their career needs. We did a lot of meetings, a lot of team meetings, but really that's probably the one thing I look back on and go, you know, that was tricky. I've got to tell you, actually, one thing, my biggest regret in the business, I know that's sort of a little bit of a different take on it, but it's something that I always think about now, that the one thing I would change in my business, at the time, I used zero software. I was 100% Airbnb. I know, this will blow your mind.
Oh my gosh.
100% Airbnb. I didn't run a PMS. No PMS.
Oh my gosh.
I ran a real estate software that I had to keep an account of a trust account, because I was a registered real estate agent. And I had zero for my accounting, but no PMS, nothing. The one thing I wish I did at least implement was a dynamic pricing software, because I now look back and think about how much money I lost. Like, I didn't think that in Australia, somebody in America or somebody in India or wherever they were going to be located was going to be able to tell me what to charge on my local properties. Like, how the hell would these people know? They knew, because I have calculated, now that I'm running another property here in Brisbane, Australia. I've found an arbitrage property of all things, so that's a whole different ball game. One that I rent for $2,000 a month, and it brings in, last month nearly brought in $9,000. Arbitrage I'm not a big fan of, but I am a big fan when I make that sort of money. But the one thing I'm doing with that property that I didn't do with the 130 is running price labs. And price labs, I've worked out, are giving me on average about 10 to 12% more income than I would have if I had guessed the price myself. If any of you are good at math, work out what 10 to 12% of $8 million is. And that's what I lost. So nearly $1 million in loss. So don't be an idiot. Don't do a Julie George. Make sure you've got a dynamic pricing software.
Julie, I got a question. I mean, this is your baby, right? In 3 years, I'm sure you're proud that you built up this $1 million business. And I'm sure at a certain point, it's your identity, right? Yeah. Was it difficult to sell?
Nah. Oh, okay. It was. Originally, when somebody came knocking at my door and said, we'd like to buy your business, I was like, hands off. It's my baby. Don't touch it. But this had gone bestseller around the world. I was getting speaking opportunities to travel around the world. I had just been in Chesky's office in San Francisco, which I've got lots of gossip about on that. We should do
we want to hear another
session
show, right?
On what I saw behind the walls of Airbnb. And to be honest, any one given night, I had 400 to 500 people staying in Julie's property. That does still cause a little bit of stress. And for any of you who have ever stress is not my friend. I used to work a corporate job years ago, and that corporate role, I ended up having a complete burnout breakdown. And I know that a lot of you are in the medical field, so you can relate to this, that, you know, when you're working 24/7, you're giving the organization your blood, sweat, and tears. Stress can completely overwhelm your body. It did to me. And so I was always very wary of stress. And when the offer came to buy my business, initially my first thought was, no, don't touch it. After sleeping on it a few nights, I was like, actually, this might free me up from the stress. This might give me an opportunity to travel more. It's certainly going to pay off every debt I have, and then give me enough money to never work again if I need to. And I thought, and if one person's interested in buying, maybe there might be two people. So I started looking for a second buyer to bid them against each other. And that worked. So, and then folks, if anybody's interested in selling, I've got a whole Actually, Alex, put me on the list again. We're going to talk about selling a business in short-term rentals in a few months' time into your group. I'll come back and do another presentation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. So, but yeah, all good. And in hindsight, I sold 3 months before COVID hit. So woo-hoo.
Right.
Lucky for me, not so lucky for the buyers.
Oh, but they still run the business, right?
Yeah, they do. They do. And do you know the one thing that they did, which was really smart, was when they bought my business, they gave me a very large share portfolio, a shareholding in their company, so that I wouldn't start up in opposition to them and I would still push people to them. So they were very smart in the way that they approached the purchase of my business. I also worked for them in transition for a few months after I sold the business as an employee to make sure that the owners all stayed with the new, the property owners that had their properties with us all remained happy and that they didn't think that there was anything changing. So it was an interesting process to go through, but folks, there's, it is the ultimate payday when you can build up a management company and sell it.
So you sold it and they're still paying you.
They were, yeah. They were paying me a wage and not anymore. But well, now I have got the share portfolio, but until that's so there's still money to come out of that sale. So it's it's good.
We have a question from Facebook, and it might be different because it's Australia, but they're asking, what are the tax implications of a management LLC?
I don't know. Sorry, full disclosure, I've got no idea. But consult your accountant. And no, I'm sorry, folks, I really don't know. And it depends on where you are, I guess. So, but I can only imagine it could be positive. So, but yeah, you'll have to consult a professional.
Yes. Let's see what else we got. Did you have a business background before you started? For those of us who are, of course, smart, but don't have a business background, what foundational skills are important to have acquired to develop your framework? In medicine, we are trained in a system, not much room to move around.
Great question. So yes, I did have a business background. I studied at university hotel management, which is bizarre because here we are running a very large hotel in different parts of the same community. But I also was a budding entrepreneur from day one. So when Josh, who you just met, walked past, he's 24 now, but when he was first born, I wanted to still earn money. I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mum. So I was running a secretarial business and I would just have him. You can't imagine him now being in a little bouncer underneath my desk, but that's how it would work. But I was then running Uber Eats before Uber Eats existed, a shop and deliver, it was called, a errand running service. So I tried and I failed at a lot of entrepreneurial. I didn't fail, but what I did was with those businesses, I created a job for myself. And this is where, Alex, this is where that mindset thing comes into play. You can replace your own income with a business, short-term rental business, but do you really want to work? Does work? There's a lot of other things out there that you could be doing as well. So I don't know, it might be charity work, it might be travel, it might be spending time with your children. But I kind of, I decided that there was a switch there after I had my burnout, my stress burnout, breakdown, corporate, whatever you want to call it. I decided that I didn't want to ever have to work again if I could help it. How was I going to get there? I needed to create a business that I could work on, not in. And yet 10 hours a week, that was fine. I'm happy to do 10 hours a week work. So that's where I was at with 130 properties. But to get to that point, you need the framework, you need the team, you need the organizational processes and skills. And if anybody at all is listening right now and they're interested in replicating that, let's get on a Zoom, let's have a chat. We can possibly help. Jamina, can we, and I'm possibly...
Hi. Yeah, just a follow-up to that. Yeah, just a follow-up to that is, for me, it's finding the people that I can trust, because I feel like I'm very detail oriented. Typically, a lot of people in medicine are. And so as part of, maybe not having that business background, hiring and managing people, what is the key to that, I guess?
It takes time to learn to trust and to believe that other people are going to be able to do the work just as well, if not better than you. So it is that it's, I don't know that there's an easy answer to that, but it is just being able to discover when you can give somebody an opportunity, like we're talking about here with a property host position, and being able to give them a profit share. And you might have to fake it till you make it, honestly, to build that trust up. But when you can start seeing the results, when you can start seeing the loyalty, and that suddenly everybody on your team becomes a salesperson promoting your business in the community, I just think that, yeah, it's a work in progress, but I would love to jump on a call with you and share more information if I could at some stage.
Yeah,
but
sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Anybody else? No.
Julie, what are you working on now?
Oh,
you said you
okay.
sold your stuff and now you got an arbitrage deal. You're traveling around the world. I see you at Bill Faith's conference over there, speaking on stage, writing books. What's the passion now? I mean, what do you build up now? Like, how do you follow this up, right?
Exactly. So that whole idea of dream big, dream bigger, I've got to remind myself to do the same. And so at the moment, in the last 4 months, I have spent 12 weeks internationally traveling. I've been judging the Shortyz Awards. That's the short-term rental awards in London. I got to go to London. I got to speak in Barcelona to property managers who have got 1,500 plus properties. That was kind of exciting. Nashville, we had 1,000 people at the Wild Horse Saloon at the Short-Term Rental Wealth Conference in Nashville in June. What a rock concert that was. If you weren't there, make sure you're there next year. That's probably the best conference that I've been to in short-term rentals. So Short-Term Rental Wealth Conference, it will be in March of next year in Nashville. I was just in Miami. I was just in Houston at TJ Tajani's event. So I now get paid to go and speak on stage with all these amazing people. So how cool is that? You get paid to travel around the world and talk to people about short-term rentals. For me, it is now about helping others and giving back. And that is where I would love to stay in touch with all of you, because if you can then message me in 3 months' time and go, I've got another property, that's exciting. It's so exciting because you're one step closer to, might be financial freedom. It might be being able to take a weekend off with your family. But Alex, I'm going to tell you, it's the inner circle. We're not going to share this outside of our group. I'll let you in on a secret on what I'm really working on at the moment. Any of your Netflix fans, there is a Netflix show that is being filmed in the next few months, and it is based on this baby. What? So Hospitable Hosts.
Whoa.
I know, how exciting. So it's yeah, we've been talking to producers. I've got to fly to the UK to film. We are looking at doing so every episode will be based on a different host experience. And yeah, Netflix are looking to take on Julie George and the Hospitable Hosts. So folks, that's where, if anybody like Alex is going to be in the next book, we are doing one 2023. If anyone's interested, we have got, looks like a reality TV show that's going to go side by side. So
yeah.
Is it anecdotes of hosts like getting their properties, or like events that happen at their properties, or what is it about?
Yeah, it's going to be all of those things. In fact, so one of the stories that we tell in the book here is about a lady who met her husband as a guest. So that was, hopefully she got a 5-star review out of that. But so it'll probably tell that story. For me, it will be about building a business and selling it. Somebody else, they went through breast cancer, and then it was their way of coming back into the workforce. So there's it'll be a bit of a mix, but it's all different stories about people all around the world. And it doesn't matter how many properties you've got. There's people in this book that have got one property, but it's just the experiences that we might have with guests. I mean, I had a lady give birth in one of my properties. That cleaning fee needs to go up. But it was, so I see Lenny laughing. But we've all had so many great experiences in this industry, and it's great to share and to be able to know that you're not alone, because sometimes this business can feel very lonely and you can feel like you're the only one dealing with the frustrations of guests or complaints or whatever it might be. Just know that there's a bigger, wider community out there. And the one thing, Alex, coming back to your question about what I'm doing now, for me, it's about bringing people together, collaborating, supporting, motivating, and hopefully inspiring others to replicate the success that we've all seen in the industry. So it's it's good times.
That's why we had you on. We are aligned, and I love that because that's pretty much what I'm doing now. Julie, so we're up on the hour here. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, look, I'm just going to come back to my share screen so that you can get all my details. So milliondollarhost.com.au is my website. But honestly, folks, if you want to just shoot me a line on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, let me know. And here's the thing. I know that I was going to just give out 3 books. I had a look at the chat. I don't know who to give the books to. So how about we just say that anybody who is on this call right now, if you guys shoot me a message on any of those formats, tell me that you listened in to Alex and Savannah's Zoom call. If you want to book a one-on-one Zoom with me, I'm going to send you my Calendly link. But if you just simply want a copy of Million Dollar Host, just give me your email address and I'm going to shoot one through to you. So everybody gets a book. You get a book. You get a book.
Yes, you're the Oprah of short-term rentals here.
We make that joke, but look what they've got. Look what my family has put on my.
Oh, wow.
Oprah.
Oprah.
See that? Julie Oprah.
Oh.
Dream big, dream bigger.
Yes. That's amazing. Julie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. That was a real treat for us.
My pleasure. Folks, good luck with your journey. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. And keep meeting, keep coming to these meetings. Alex and Savannah, I'm coming back, whether you two like it or not, I'm going to be coming back, but maybe we can talk about how to sell those businesses in a few months' time. So
Savannah, we need to talk with Savannah because that's what she's working on right now. She's working on something big.
What are you up to?
Yeah, no, I'm building a startup right now. I just got into an accelerator program and I'm pitching on right now. So yeah, full force into that space, which is fun. But I just wanted to touch base. If anyone's interested, the recording of this meetup will be on my YouTube channel. I dropped it in the chat. I'll drop it again now. And then some of the tips and stuff that Julia went through will be available there for you guys to watch later. So thank you guys all for coming. Yes, thank you again, Julie, for tapping in the future over in Australia. Super cool to have you here. And yeah, we'll have to have you back on again soon.
Oh my God, really good meetup, right? I feel good. Okay.
Done.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Take care.